On November 24th, 2025, something really powerful and frankly unexpected tore through the Houston area. Now, this wasn't just another storm. This was a confirmed tornado that hit way outside the normal tornado season, and it left behind a whole lot of damage and a lot of questions. So let's get right into what happened.
To really get a sense of the power we're talking about, you just have to hear this one description from the Harris County authorities. They said large, mature trees were, quote, snapped like toothpicks. That one image, man, it just says it all, doesn't it? It tells you everything about the kind of raw force that was at play here.
And that really gets to the heart of the matter. Tornadoes like this, you expect them in the spring in Texas, not when winter is basically right around the corner. So you have to ask, what on earth unleashed this kind of power on a totally normal November day? Okay, so let's start by just looking at the event itself, the pure chaos of it, and what happened in the moments right after the storm hit.
It all happened so fast, really. On the afternoon of the 24th, you had this severe storm system rolling through the county. It kept getting stronger, and then, boom, by late afternoon, there was a tornado on the ground. And by that evening, you could already see the scale of the response, with emergency crews just flooding the area to figure out how bad the damage was.
And this wasn't some tornado out in the middle of nowhere. No, this thing carved a path right through several neighborhoods in Harris County. And in a really terrible twist of fate, it slammed directly into a major campus for Emergency Services District 11. Yeah, the very people who respond to disasters just like this.
And this right here shows you just how close this whole thing came to being so much worse. At that EMS campus, a maintenance building was literally torn to pieces. The roof and the back wall just ripped right off, and 2 workers were still inside. Incredibly, somehow, they both got out without a scratch. It's just amazing.
So we've seen the destruction, right? Now let's peel back the layers and look at the science. What ingredients actually have to come together in the atmosphere to cook up something this destructive?
The engine behind this whole thing was what's called a supercell thunderstorm. And believe me, this is not your average storm. A supercell is this incredibly powerful, rotating beast of a storm that can just keep going for hours. It's that constant rotation inside, this thing called a mesocyclone, that lets it produce some of the most violent weather you can find on the planet.
So how does it form? Well, it's this classic, really violent clash in the sky. You start with this warm, sticky, unstable air that's just sitting near the ground. Then, a cold front comes barreling in and slams into it, which forces that warm air to just shoot upwards like a rocket. That rapid upward motion starts to create rotation inside the storm cloud, and out of that spinning column of air, a tornado can drop down. It's a perfect storm.
All right, now that we kind of get the why, let's get back to the what. What did this storm actually leave in its wake? Let's look at the real, tangible impact on the community.
This first number is just staggering. Over 100 homes were damaged. I mean, think about that. That's over 100 families whose lives were just completely turned upside down in a matter of minutes. We're talking everything from shattered windows to entire roofs just gone.
And the disruption? It just spread way beyond the tornado's immediate path. At its peak, more than 20,000 homes and businesses were plunged into darkness. The grid just couldn't handle the damage from all the downed power lines.
And you can see the damage wasn't just in one area. It hit everything. Homes, of course. Critical infrastructure like that EMS campus, the local environment with all those snapped trees, and essential utilities, leading to the power outages and even a gas leak. It was just a total, comprehensive blow to the whole community.
But in the middle of all of this destruction, we get to what is, without a doubt, the most important fact of this entire event. Despite more than 100 homes being damaged, despite a direct hit from a powerful tornado, authorities have reported no major injuries and no fatalities. It's honestly just a miracle. So while the immediate danger has passed, the investigation is really just getting started. The National Weather Service is out there right now trying to piece together the full story of this storm, and there are still some pretty big questions left to answer.
First up, exactly how strong was this tornado? We know it was destructive, obviously, but what was its official rating on the Enhanced Fujita Scale, the EF scale? That final rating is going to tell us its estimated wind speed and really classify its true power.
Next, what was its actual footprint on the ground? You've got survey teams out there right now, walking the path of destruction, meticulously mapping the damage to figure out the tornado's precise track, how long it was and how wide it got.
And finally, there's always the financial question. What's the final price tag on all this? Tallying up the cost of damage to all those homes, to public buildings, to the infrastructure, That's a huge job that's going to take weeks, maybe even months to figure out. So, beyond the shocking pictures and the jaw-dropping numbers, why does this specific storm matter so much? What's the big takeaway here?
And this right here is the whole issue in a nutshell. We think of tornadoes in Texas as a spring thing, right? March through May. That's when everyone's on high alert. But a powerful tornado at the end of November, that hits when public expectation is way down, and that can make a dangerous storm even more dangerous. So the key takeaway is pretty clear. This is a major wake-up call that severe weather doesn't care what the calendar says. Damaging over 100 homes makes this a huge event, and it just hammers home the need to be prepared all year round. And the fact that nobody was seriously hurt, that could be because of good warnings, a fast response, or just plain old good luck.
When you boil it all down, this storm teaches us a very powerful lesson in the real world. Being prepared can't be a seasonal thing. Danger just doesn't wait for the right time of year to show up.
And that kind of leaves us with a final thought, something for all of us to chew on. This event in Houston was definitely unexpected. But as these unusual weather events seem to become more common, it's a question we all need to start asking ourselves. Right now, how prepared is my community for the unexpected?